Welcome back to my Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction recordings. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lachey, and I do Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction recordings. This is a new part of a series that I'm starting this week. It's called After All These Years, and it'll be a 2-part series. Next part will be posted next week. Alright, After All These Years, Part 1. A Miraculous Ladybug fanfiction, written and narrated by Lachey Dow. Ladybug. If you had looked up at the Eiffel Tower one clear, starry night, you never would have thought Ladybug would be sitting there, crying her eyes out. Yet there she was, sobbing as if the world would end. She had never intended the day to end like this. Earlier that night, Ladybug had gone for a patrol around the city. She had settled for the Eiffel Tower, as it provided the best views. Slowly, it had gotten dark, and as the hours passed, Ladybug decided there was probably not going to be any crime tonight. She sighed, and glanced up at the stars that were slowly appearing in the night sky. She was overwhelmed by a sudden surge of emotion. These were just like the night she had shared with him. Just the thought of him sent a shock of pain through her body, and she crumpled to the floor, sobbing. God, how she missed him. Her partner, her other half, the love of her life, Cat Noir. Adrien regressed. She hadn't seen him in 15 years. It was kind of ridiculous that a 33-year-old woman would sob over a high school flame, but he was special, and it was this night, 15 years ago, that the fateful battle had taken place. The battle Parisians referred to as the Hawkmoth Battle. 15 years ago, at age 18, Ladybug and Cat Noir had discovered the true identity of Hawkmoth. She had been as shocked as anyone to find Gabriel Agreste as the guilty party. The battle had been won at a bad cost. Cat Noir had revealed himself to her soon after the battle, and Ladybug had almost had a heart palpitation. Adrien Agreste had been by her side this whole time, and she had had no idea. Adrien had looked very shaken and miserable. He wouldn't say a word. He wouldn't let her reveal herself either. He had just stared at the sky. They had sat that way for hours, until suddenly he had kissed her and vanished. She had spent years searching for him, but it was like he had vanished off the earth. Eventually, Ladybug had given up and drove in all her spare time into her work. She had moved out of her parents' house and into a small flat. She also now owned a fashion line under the pseudonym of Tiki. She had hoped Adrien would catch on, knowing her Kwame's name. She never knew if he did. She had tried to be happy. She was Olia's maid of honor at her wedding. She still went out with Ollie and the girls occasionally. And now, after 15 years, after the Hawkmoth battle, Ladybug finally let herself cry. She sobbed and sobbed, pouring all her misery into her tears. She didn't know how long she cried. Reality slipped away as she let memories flood her mind. Their first Akuma fight. Every Akuma fight over the years. The Hawkmoth battle. The night on the roof. The nights and days she spent searching. Work. Spotted fabric. His face. His face. His face. His face. All she could see was his face. His golden hair. His peridot eyes. His mask. She was so distraught, she didn't notice anything around her. No notice of the time, no notice of the weather. She just cried. She was sobbing so hard, she missed the thud on the rail behind her. She missed the light footsteps. Hi. Ladybug froze. What? Who? She stood up and slowly turned around. She gasped, tears flooding her vision, raising a hand to her mouth. After all these years, she couldn't believe her eyes. She broke down crying and flung herself, sobbing into Cat Noir's arms. That was Us Against the World Part 2. I'll hopefully post Part 2 next week, and I will see you all next time.